Welcome, welcome. I'll just let people file in while we look out over the scene. You might see a couple of flashes of lightning if you're lucky out in the distance there. Is anybody there? If you are there, please say hello in the chat so I know we're going live and you can actually see and hear me. Well, you can't see me at the moment because I'm just showing you the wonderful dock, the bay, the lagoon. There we go. Morning, Graham. Hi again. Hello. Hi, people. Hi, peeps. Looks peaceful. It is. It's very peaceful indeed. Hey all, says SG. Hi, SG. Well, afternoon here. Well, okay. So, good afternoon, people of Britain. Good morning, people of the Americas. Good morning, Americas. So, I'm in Panama, which is something that tiny Tommy 10 names can never do. Well done for turfing Tommy out of your lovely country. Well, I said to them, like, as I was coming in, I said, listen, if this little short ass fuck turns up all coked off his head with all these millions that he's been given by these shady conservative groups in America, I don't let him in because he's a gobshite. And they went, all right, Graham. Graham 1, Tommy 10 names it 0. Exactamundo, Gareth T. So we're going to be talking today a little bit about Palestine because today we are officially, well, I say we, the UK is officially recognising Palestine as a state, which is overdue, but very, very welcome. Now, I don't like the way that obviously this is being sort of put forward by certain people as being, what do they say? Let me just raise this up a little bit. Let me just raise awareness. It's a bit uncomfortable to be like lounging and trying to talk to you at the same time, so I'm going to sit on the hammock. So I can't stay long talking carters on, says Gareth. Oh, well, it's nice to have you here for at least a few minutes. Recognition of statehood of Palestine is something that we should have done years ago. We should have done that back in the 90s. As soon as someone started talking about a two-state solution, you can't have a two-state solution without two states, can you? Now, Britain is going to be the first of the G7 countries to recognize Palestine as an independent state. We will be followed very quickly this week by Canada and France, who are also going to do that. And people are saying, but this is rewarding Hamas. And I'm like, no, it's absolutely not rewarding Hamas. If anything, it's, I guess, punishing Israel for going absolutely overboard and causing a genocide, a UN certified genocide. There you go, little stamp, not a stamp of approval, but, a stamp that this is an official genocide according to the United Nations. And but realistically, it's not a reward for Hamas. It's not really a punishment for Israel. It is the first step on a road to a two-state solution. That is it. But there are certain people who don't want the two-state solution. They don't want any solution. There are certain people, like the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, who's a gobshite, who want to wipe Palestine off the map. And here's the thing, right? There's a bunch of international laws that kick in when a sovereign... Oh, Catherine's watching. Hi, Kat. Hello. I miss you too. There's a bunch of not regulations, a bunch of extra laws that kick in when it comes to one country attacking another country. And Israel for years has skirted around this by saying, but they're not, it's not a separate country, it's the occupied territories, it's the this, it's the that, and I think that if you are serious about peace in the region, we've got to, this is the correct first step to take. And apparently when the Mango Mussolini, when the Tangerine Tyrant came over last week to the UK, him and Starmer had a bit of a disagreement about the recognition of Israel in the press conference that they held together. And I don't think America's ever going to come on side of anyone else criticizing Israel. Israel deserves criticism for its response. And I understand and I appreciate there are many people in Israel and people around the world who are still reeling from what happened on October the 7th. But nothing that happened there gave Israel the right to go as far as it's gone. It has really, I mean, it's horrific. It's horrific. I mean, they've made a famine. They've made a famine. They've flattened cities. They've destroyed infrastructure. They've bombed hospitals. They've killed nearly 200 journalists have been killed. Some of them targeted on purpose by the Israeli forces. Like they've got a kill list of journalists. And when this conflict has seen 3 times more journalists die than died in the entirety of World War II, it's too much. It's just too much. And they won't allow independent journalists in for whatever reason. It's a miserable situation. Hopefully, something good can come out of all this horror at the end of it all, and I hope that it is a 2-state solution. The current Israel government needs consequences, not just criticism. Yes. Canada had now recognised Palestine. Cool. Okay, cool. Gareth T says, I was in Durham on Friday, ironically. Oh, wow. Why were you there ironically? Why was it ironic? Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? We got the so-called double tap. It's beyond disgusting. Yeah. I hear Owen Jones is currently in the West Bank. Oh, okay. Hope he's all right. I that's my opinion on it. I welcome this news. I don't think that it's rewarding Hamas. I mean, the way that Israel has hammered down on the Palestinian people in the last 2 years. The thing is, it's going to take generations to fix this now because of all the hurt and the loss and the intergenerational strife that it's caused. You've got kids who are growing up now without parents in Palestine. Israel policy is so messed up, says Gareth. Yeah, it is. As now has Australia. Okay, so Australia's also recognised Palestine. We're good, and France is planning to do it as well. I don't know if they're doing that today or whether that's going to happen later in the week. But this is sorely needed because it will give also not just an opening for the discussion on a 2-state solution, for which you need 2 states, but also, I can see there's lightning over there. I could switch the camera around. So you could look out for some lightning. It's not just the start of the 2-state solution, the concept, but it also will afford Palestine some more protections that it doesn't currently enjoy, and it can open the door to Palestine becoming a full member of the United Nations. At the moment, it has the same status as the Vatican City, the Holy See. It's got what's called special observer status, which means that it can take part in debates and things like that. But I don't think it can attend debates and attend things, but they're not allowed to vote. They're not allowed to put any motions forward, I don't think, like what other countries can do. So they're not full members of the United Nations. This is a step on the road to that. And if anyone wants peace, this should be welcomed. Don't most Palestinian people hate Hamas? Yeah, it is, especially in the West Bank, because they see their cousins, they see their brothers and sisters living under Hamas in the Gaza Strip, and it's just not a nice way to live. Nice day in Panama. It's not. It's really cloudy. It's really overcast. Look how cloudy it is. I'm hoping that we'll get look, some birds. I'm hoping that we get a flash of lightning. That's what I want. Go on, give us a flash of lightning. Go on. going to read this while I'm looking for a flash of lightning. When the State of Israel was created in 1948, there were a large number of Jewish scholars and academics who were very critical of it. Yeah, well, that's to be expected. I mean, people have different views. Are there crocs there? No. We had this question yesterday, didn't we? No, except for the ones that people wear and then fall off their feet and then float over here from from the town. Oh, come on. Give us a nice little bit of fork lightning to take. I can hear the rumble. Come on, give us a flash. Flash. Ah. I'll read the rest of your messages right since. It will take Will. Unfortunately, finding that could take generations, but it could be quicker if attitudes would change. Yes. I mean, there you go. How did you get on with the construction? We're doing quite well at the moment, Diz. This is much nicer view than looking at me anyway. Yesterday we finished 3 little walls down in the basement under the house. So what we've done is we've raised the level we've made all the underneath all the same level, a little bit higher, and then it's like a concrete floor, and then we're building little walls around the floor so that we don't have to use that much cement, that much concrete, and then on those walls we're going to put runners, as in wooden runners, and then on them we'll be putting planks of wood to create a deck. So it's going to have a wooden deck downstairs, which I used to have, but then when the island was abandoned for a couple of months, someone came and stole all my decking. Come to Wales, Graham. Yes, I do come to Wales quite often. I love Wales. It was like my second home when I was growing up. I went to Llandudno and Conway and Trefrw and Llangollen, and we climbed up Mount Snowdon, which has got a new name now, isn't it? I forgot what its new name is. That's embarrassing. It's like Whiffy or something. Mount Whiffy. Someone's going to tell me what it's called now. Oh, there you go. There was a flash. Oh, it wasn't very good, though. It was kind of like sheet lightning. It wasn't a fork. It was not a fork. Do you do any fishing there, Graham? Yeah, Oliver. Well, I mean, not at the moment, because we're doing a lot of work at the moment. We're getting sort of stuff delivered to the islands, cement and sand and soil and things that we need to build it up because of climate change. But yeah, when I lived here, I would sit on the boat dock here. I would have my laptop. I was writing blogs. I was writing scripts. I was writing my book, the first book I wrote here. And I put a line in the water. Just put a line in the water on a hook and a line, and I would use I tried different types of bait, but the bait that I found worked the best was like those wiener sausages, that the really narrow ones that you get, the little wiener sausages. They were great. The fish fucking loved them. So I used to cut a chunk off that and then throw that in the water, and that would usually get a big fish along. I can see some big fish in the water at the moment, actually, which is good. But what you want to do if you've got like a boat dock like this with water around it, just put any food waste that you have, throw it in the water, because what ends up happening is fish tend to know there's going to be food around here, so they'll come and they'll be like, oh, there's food. Oh, okay, I know where to come for food now, and they'll keep coming back, and then eventually, once they get big enough, you can catch them and eat them. The circle of life. But yeah, one of the things I want to see before I die is ball lightning, but it is extremely rare, says Paula. Yes, they are. American crocodiles are indeed native to Panama, not in the area Graham is in. Yeah, we don't have any crocodiles here. Ball lightning and also the sprites that shoot up into space. Have the jellyfish gone? Yeah, there's no jellyfish this morning. There's none. I think they know what's coming. This is so much the calm before the storm. Like, seriously, that is some wet weather coming this way. If you see where the gap is between the two islands there, just to the left of the point. I'll do point it with my finger. See here. Oh, damn, it's unfocused. Focus. Oh no, I fucked it up. Hang on. Go back to me. Go back to this. There we go. That anvil-shaped cloud. That's a thundercloud. and there's been a few sparks. There's been a few sparks coming there, down there in the last few minutes. But this is what I'm looking at while I'm looking at my phone. So I'm seeing the bolts of lightning, and it's quite exciting. But then every time I turn the camera around, it's like nothing happens. Always the way, innit? Always the way. What else have we got? Have the jellyfish gone? Yes, they've gone. Where do all the jellyfish go? I don't know. They fuck off. Where have you gone, jellyfish? They love it when it's really sunny, when there's no clouds, and it's really calm in the morning. That's when they tend to come around here to feast, I guess. The water's so clear, but it's making me realise there's quite a lot of litter in the water. There's like I can see 2 cans over there, not a toucan, but 2 cans of God knows what in the water, fallen in or something. So I'm thinking I might, after this, I might climb into the water and just do a little bit of a tidy up. Stop it and tidy up. Chris C says, I'm giving my back a rest. Been sewing most of the morning, getting my Christmas bandanas made up in advance. That's cool. Graham, do you know if any of your mangroves are being used as fish/reptile nurseries? Not reptiles, but the fish. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, there's a whole mangrove forest at the back of my island. So just to explain, like, if you look at the island on Google Maps, it looks fucking huge. You know, it looks several acres. But most of that isn't land. It's just mangroves in the water. So if I show you, if I flip this around, you see the mangroves there, right, in the water. They've got roots that go down like a meter or so below the level before they hit the soil. And the same with these over here. So that isn't actually land, and no one can own that. And the Panamanian government and also the Costa Rican government are really good on, it's been 20 years now, I think they've had this rule about you cannot own shoreline. So technically speaking, not only do I not own any of these mangroves on the outside of the island, but also from 10 meters from the high water mark back is also, if it was in the UK, I guess they'll call it like public domain or something like that. But essentially, you're not allowed to own it. You're not allowed to build stuff on it without permission. You see this boat dock here. This is called a concession. So when you set up somewhere, you're allowed to build X amount of things, you know, and you've got to tell them what you're going to be building, and if it's going to damage the mangroves in any way, and if you are going to take out any mangroves, you have to apply for a permit to do that. And they might say no, or they might say, okay, you can take them out, but then you have to plant some more mangroves on the other side, or something like that. You're not even allowed to trim them. So these behind me here, you can see if I point there. So that can you see you've got the roots there going into the water, and that's where all the fish nurseries are and stuff. And they clean the water as well. I mean, mangroves are remarkable. They hold the island together. They create the islands. These are mangrove islands. They exist because of the mangroves, because they stop that. Not only do they stop the soil disappearing because they've got the roots networks, but also a lot of the soil on the island is the leaves of these mangroves over many years building up, because they drop their leaves. We've spoken about this before, but they have one sacrificial leaf on each branch, which will turn yellow, and it'll take all of the salt. So it sucks up the salt water, separates the salt water from the fresh water, uses the fresh water for whatever it needs to do with the fresh water, and then it puts all of the salt into one leaf on each branch. So if I show you, I don't know how well you'll see this on the camera, but if I show you the mangroves there, I don't know if you can see it, but there are noticeably yellow leaves on there. So they're the sacrificial leaves. So they'll fall down. So if you look in the water around here, it's like autumn, you know, in the UK. It's full of leaves, which is surprising because you think, well, these are evergreens, you know, we don't have winter here. It's a land of forever summer. So that's the way that works anyway. But yeah, you're not allowed to cut them down. Where they've been trimmed here, you see that there should be branches all the way up these trees here, but these were trimmed, not by me, but by someone who owned the island in the past. And one time the environmental police turned up and they went, "You've cut the trees, you got to come and answer for this." And I was like, "It wasn't me." And I had to show like documentary proof that it was like that when I acquired the island. And so they were sort of happy with that. They went, "Okay, don't worry about it." Luckily for me, I had a local guy who helped me out with it, because if I didn't, I think I would have been in lots of serious gringo trouble here. But yeah, you're not even allowed to trim them without permission. Which some people complain about it. I think it's great. I think it's good. I think that these shorelines, these essential parts of the ecosystem here, should not be damaged. They should not be cut down and to make way for an artificial beach or something, which is what some of the gringos would do, given half the chance. Also, it means that like hotels can't or resorts can't own the beaches. One of the big problems we have in the Caribbean here is that in a lot of the Caribbean countries, greedy government officials have been bribed by the likes of these big American resort companies into selling off the nation's beaches, and so you'll have somewhere where there'll be the public beach and it'll be horrible, and it could be a black sand beach, be full of litter, and it's absolutely overcrowded. And then there's like a pristine white sand beach just a little further up the coast, but that's private. That can only be used by the people staying at the resort, and the only people staying at the resort are rich Westerners, not the locals who live there. And I think it's a huge problem. Doesn't happen here, doesn't happen in Costa Rica, because no one can own the shoreline. You can't own the beach. It's not allowed. Good. Don't allow them to own the beach. Oh, I just saw another flash. Damn it. Jellyfish have no brain. It's a very basic nervous system, and they rely on tides and currents. Is that the sea? Is that the sea through that gap? Says Oliver. Yes, that's the Caribbean Sea. If you sail straight out my island, heading north, actually that's northwest. Mad, northwest. You will get out. Mangroves are amazing habitat, says One Eye Pink. Yes, they are. They are really they're really fascinating, and also they're also an amazing carbon sink. Like that is one of the most cool things about them. There's a few things on the planet that are really great at absorbing carbon. Thunder. There's a few things that are really great at absorbing carbon, and mangroves are one of them. They will devour carbon, and they put it down into their roots, and then they put it under the sea where it belongs. Put the carbon back under the sea where it belongs. Carbon free future, please. Chris sounds amazing. Whether I sign up. What sounds amazing? Jellyfish have no brains. What? Just swimming around in the tides and currents. Yeah, maybe. I don't know why we get so many of them when the water's calm and it's very sunny. It just seems to happen, or maybe it's just certain days. I suspect they go as deep as in the water as possible to protect themselves from the kinetic energy from the rain. Maybe. They also view natural predators and have a wicked method of self-defense. What's that? Jellyfish. My Life as a Jellyfish, a novel. I'd love to go exploring there. It's a really fascinating place to go exploring, especially if you're into your flora and fauna. I've spoken before, like we have sloths here. We have pygmy sloths out on the Vascaris Islands. We have the different strawberry dart frogs on each island. On each big island, they have their own morph of these strawberry dart frogs. Look them up online, type in Bocas del Toro frogs, and these beautifully coloured frogs. And on one island they'll be red, another island they'll be blue, another island they'll be yellow, another island there'll be another colour. And there's about 18 different morphs of these frogs. And I was lucky enough to host a guy who essentially I think he just turned up on my island. I'm not sure. No. I got a message from my friend who runs the Palma tent lodge on Bastamentos Island in Red Frog, and he said there's a guy here from Canadian Geo, it's like National Geo but for Canada, and he needs to get, he needs somewhere to stay, And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, come stay on my island. So he just sort of turned up, and he kept with all this camera gear, like just bags and bags of camera gear. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he said, I'm on an assignment to photograph all of the different morphs of these frogs. And it was just fantastic. We spent about, I don't know, 4 days just putting around the island on my boat. So, I was taking him out there and I was discovering reefs that I never knew were there. And God, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And we got to, sometimes I went with him through the jungle on these particular islands, and he knew the sound that the frogs made. So he'd be like, okay, the frogs are here, the frogs are here. And then he'll know where to look at the base of trees and stuff where the frog was most likely to be, or underneath a leaf or something. And he found them. He found all of them, and he got these amazing, amazing pictures. And one of the things he had was like a light box, like a 3D block box. And he would stick that on the end of his camera and put the frog inside and get these amazing details. And the frog's only tiny. The frog's only like an inch long. And he'd get these amazing close-up photos. Like it looked like it was done in a studio, but it was out in the middle of the jungle. And then he'd let the frog go. Now, they are called poison dart frogs. You will get very ill if you eat them. If you've handled them, then you should definitely wash your hands. But they're not like, there's a frog in the Amazon that like one drop of its poison can kill 1,000 people or something. It's nothing like that, but they're beautiful little tiny tree frogs, and they're pretty cool. And because all these islands got separated, presumably at the end of the last ice age, same species, different colors depending on the natural predators, sexual selection, and the foliage on each island is different. So the frogs develop different colors. It's very cool. Mangroves, who knew? Good afternoon, everyone, and how are we doing? I'm feeling pretty meh. Oh, hey, Liebchen, I'm sorry you're feeling pretty meh. I'm all right this afternoon. Well, it's this morning here. I am aware of the fact that there's a bloody big storm brewing out there over the water, and it looks like it's just about starting to rain, I think. And I'm supposed to be going into town after this show to go and get some more wood. Need wood. You would need some wood. So I'm just a bit worried in case it starts raining while I'm out there. It's not fun being on a boat, on a speedboat. Well, not really a speedboat, a panga. In the rain is just not fun. The rain drives into your face like you wouldn't believe. It's like little darts being fired into your face all at once. It's really unpleasant. Good they care for the environment, says Oliver. Yeah, they do. I mean, I wish they did a little bit more when it comes to the pollution from the cars and the pollution from the plastic. Yeah, the plastic's got a bit better, but the cars, I just don't know why they need these massive fucking American pickup trucks in Boca's town. I mean, it's not even a fucking town; it's a fucking village. There's like 2 roads and a landing strip for a plane. You can walk end to end in about like 5 minutes. It's not and they've got these massive fucking pickup trucks shooting up and down the main road. And I'm like, why? Why are you doing this? You don't need something this big, but it's because this was after the canal was completed, the Panama Canal, until 1999. It was effectively an American colony here. So much so that John McCain was born here, but he was eligible to run for president because he was born in the American zone, the canal zone, which was like a mile either side of the canal, which goes through the middle of the country. And if any Panamanians want to get from one side of the country to another back then, they had to take their passports or their documents and stuff to be able to get from one side to the other, which is kind of crazy. We are as much part of the ecosystems as any other animal, which is why what we do has such effects on the environment around us. Yeah, and then the scale, one angry pagan, of humans, building shit and digging carbon out the ground and burning it like a bunch of twats. And yeah, it's just the scale, and there's just no need for it. Like with I was just thinking about this, like the setting up the solar here, the solar panels. And I saw a solar panel in the place where we bought the solar controller for $100, and it was like it was 650 watts. That is insane. That is proper insane. That is so cheap. It's like 70 quid. And that alone, for me, we could probably one of those would be enough for the amount of energy that we use in the house. Probably one. How crazy is that? Um, we are jellyfish, but we are not made of jelly, and we don't like fish. We don't look like fish. This is my song my daughter used to sing in choir at primary school. That's brilliant. Absolutely. Now we have idiot politicians going full climate denial. Yeah, says Dana Shed. Yeah, honestly, it drives me up the wall. People saying, "Oh, yeah, it's not real. It's a cyclical thing." No, it's not. Where's the difficulty in understanding the science here? Carbon under the ground, millions of years. We dig up the carbon, we burn the carbon, creates carbon dioxide. Where do you think it goes? Where do you think millions and millions and millions of tons of carbon goes? Where do you think the energy from burning that stuff goes? The heat from burning it. Didn't it? Wasn't it that it equates to a Hiroshima-sized nuclear explosion every day since the signing of the Magna Carta? That's the equivalent of the energy, the extra energy we've put into the system, into our world. Not great, not great. Oh, a fish just jumped out the water. That was cool. They do that when they're being chased by a predator. One of the really cool things that I loved when I was sailing around the Caribbean as part of the Odyssey expedition to every country was the flying fish. Flying fish are mental. Like they fly so far you would not believe, and it's just like they pop out the water and then go probably about 200 meters, 300 meters. I'm not kidding, and they are like flapping like crazy. And I'm just like, that is just the most crazy thing. And I think at some point, flying fish might actually just one can fly really, really, really far. And yeah, leave it alone, leave evolution alone for long enough, and you'll have literal fish that fly in the sky, which would be awesome. It's starting to rain here on the boat dock. You'll be able to hear this. I don't know if you can see the circles in the water. I don't think that it's high definition enough for you to see it, but you might be able to hear a little pitter patter of raindrops on the tin roof. But we should be safe here. We're under cover and it's not windy at all, so the raindrops are coming straight down, which is good, but it might get a little bit noisy as the raindrops hit the roof. Do they have river dolphins there? Oliver, they don't have, so there's pink dolphins that live in the rivers and the tributaries. Sorry, not the tributaries, but the rivers that feed the Amazon River, the Amazon Basin. You get pink dolphins, and I've been lucky enough to see pink dolphins in the wild, which is very, very, very rare. And I was very, very fortunate to see that. I got a little bit of footage, not much, but got a little bit of footage of the pink dolphins, which was very exciting. We have wild grey dolphins here in the lagoon. Sometimes I'll see them go past the island, but there's big, massive reefs, and they won't really go above the reefs. They sort of go around the reefs because it's a bit too shallow for them. They have to slow down. They're like reefs are like speed bumps for dolphins. But you sometimes see out there. So if I'm looking out there while I'm reading or whatever, you'll see a little fin coming out the water, and it's a dolphin shaped fin. Essentially, know your fins. If it's triangular, it's a shark. If it's shaped like this and then it has sort of like an in one side, it's got a little curve on one side going in, then it's a dolphin. You sometimes see little pods, maybe like 3 or 4 dolphins go past here. But if you go out the driveway here, turn left and go round the mangroves on this side of the camera, and you go through the little gap around the back of the island here, you come to Dolphin Bay, and that is a little bay around the back where the dolphins go to give birth to their young, because apparently, my marine biologist friend told me this, so I think it's true. The water there is a little less salty than the salts out in the sea because of all the fresh water coming down from the mountains of Panama and the mountains that form the spine of Panama. All the water comes down. I think there's like, I don't know, there's like 27 rivers that empty out into this area. So the water's slightly less salty than the deep sea. And what that means is that dolphins don't care, because dolphins can live in fresh water, they can live in salt water. They're not fish, they're mammals. But yeah, they're the big saltwater predators like big sharks, like great whites and stuff. They can't go in there. It's not salty enough for them. They'll get close and they'll be like, oh, sod this. So it's a really safe place for the dolphins to give birth and raise their young. They'll stay there for a few months, and you'll see pods of them with mummy and daddy, and then the little one, behind them, and then they'll fuck off into the great wide ocean at some point. But yeah, you don't want to get in, try and swim with the dolphins, because these are not playful dolphins. These dolphins, they're gorgeous, but they will fuck you up. No doubt about it. They will fuck you up, man. A bit like us having a second brain wrapped around our gut with more neurons in it than a cat's head. Wow. We'd have a second brain. The Daily Mail's headline is Starmer's reward for terror. Oh, for fuck's sake. Thunder and lightning, very, very frightening me. Galileo! Okay, I can't tell you how cute it used to sound in their baby voices belting out from the bottom of their tummies. What? That's so random. Oh, oh no, that was me, touch screen. Damn, I thought we got a flash then. Thoughts go out to Harlequin toad, which is extremely threatened by a fungal outbreak. Yeah. UK has now officially recognised Palestine. Good. David Lammy has stated, despite the UK recognising Palestine, it will do nothing to help the people of Palestine. Labour really need better comms. I don't think that's what he said. I think what he said was it's not going to bring the hostages back, and it's not going to end bloody Hamas's reign of terror. I think that's more like what he said, but it will, in the long run, help the people of Palestine. Really bad about the Your Party fiasco. I mean, Oliver, yeah, I couldn't agree more, mate. I mean, in a way, a part of me is glad that it just all fell apart so quickly, because you could see that Jeremy Corbyn's heart wasn't in it, and he didn't seem that interested. And to me, I don't understand why people who are disaffected Labour voters don't just join the Greens. I mean, they seem like a natural home for the views of people who have left Labour because of Labour's stance on various issues, and we all, I think anyone watching this understands what they are. Yeah, it's not great, is it? The left and their self-sabotage. Oh, the Sunday Blues, surviving Laura Kay and her Tory propaganda. At least she did not have frog face or any refuck people on today. Well, that makes a change. But Laura comes back, privately educated, of course, and gives a platform to her fellow educated people, privately educated people. Addicted to the black goo, we are. Yeah, the black goo, the disgusting carbonaceous slime that we dig out the ground, and we train our children to love the smell of poison air. How fucked up is that? I'm a petrol head. I love the smell of petrol. And I'm like, what have we done? What have we done? It's like saying I love the smell of mustard gas. The surgeon who operates on Charlie Kirk said, Charlie Kirk is a hero as the bullet didn't exit his neck, for stopping the others being injured. I'm sure Charlie Kirk had no input on there. Good afternoon, you sneaky buggers. Notifications seem to have done some, to work for don't seem to work for some of these impromptu brews. These aren't impromptu, it's 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock every day. I'll be doing these 2 o'clock every day when I can. Graham, I can never understand the person being religious and the climate denier. In my mind, it doesn't make sense. Whilst CO2 is a greenhouse gas, it's nothing when compared to methane and sulfur hexafluoride. Says Chris, yeah, but the amount of it is huge. The sheer amount. I know that, methane and the stuff that they put into air conditioning units is worse for the environment, but it's just the sheer amount. There's like 1 billion cars out there burning 1 billion liters of fuel every second, overall. It is crazy. And yeah, the the road to decarbonisation is one that is paved with riches for people who are prepared to make the change. And I genuinely believe in just a few years' time, driving an internal combustion engine car is going to feel like driving one of those. Remember those old like steam tractors that you get? You know, the steam tractor enthusiasts who spend years putting together these old steam engines that, you know, run on the road, and they're going down the motor. Well, I don't think they go on the motorway, but you know, going down the A road, and they can get up to like 5 miles an hour, and they're like so complicated, and it's like, why would anyone, you know, go to work in one of them? But they don't. They just go to like shows. They go to Beamish to show off their steam tractor or something. Of the era. I think it's going to look as weird and as antiquated as that for people to own cars that use petrol and diesel. I think I think it's going to happen really, really quickly. Climate change is somewhat cyclical. As a lifelong student of history of Earth, I have recognised that fact. However, the social cons refuse to admit our extreme extra input into the process. Yes. Alvone, these are really just nut jobs. Just think and believe this is all part of God's plan. Yeah, but then they believe anything, can't they? They can believe anything's part of it. Hi, Mrs. Hughes. Oh, hi, my mum. Hello, mum. How you doing? Hope you're having a nice Sunday. Love you, mum. Exactly pagan, as it's within our power to alleviate the problems, then we should. Yeah, but it's not just a moral imperative and an imperative for the future of humanity and life on the planet. It's cheaper to use renewables. It's cheaper. It makes more financial sense. It makes more economic sense. It doesn't make any economic sense at all to be completely reliant for your energy costs, right? The cost of your energy to be based on international prices, which can go up and down depending on what the cartel, the OPEC cartel run by Saudi Arabia, decides how much they're going to pump out from one day to the next. Whether some crazy foreign dictator in some tin pot country like, I don't know, Russia decides to invade one of their neighbors, the price of petrol goes up, the price of our gas goes up, the price of everything goes up because it's all sold on the international. That is such a mad system. We got rid of the gold standard in Britain for this very reason. We couldn't control the price of gold. You know, you can have a big ton of, you can have tons and tons of gold, but it can go from being worth trillions to being worth next to nothing overnight, depending on the gold output around the world or the demand for gold. And it's not always the same. And yes, it can go up, but also it can go down as well. You've got no control over it. With your own energy, with energy self-sufficiency, with energy sovereignty, you get to control. Your country gets to set the price for everything. It's infuriating. And Chris says, oh, yeah, it's the volume of CO2 that's the problem. However, SF6 stays in the atmosphere for around 3,700 years and can interact with ozone. Yeah. Antisocial dolphins. It's educational watching this. Giant otters are thugs. Bull sharks are well known to swim up rivers in the oceans. This is well documented in the Amazon in the US. Well, my marine biologist was lying to me then. I'll have to have words. Apparently, the big salty predators wouldn't go there and eat dolphin babies. Done a fair bit of sea fishing off the south coast and Isle of Wight on my mate's boat. It's truly magical when the dolphins join to ride the wake. Yes, that's always fun. Ooh, late to the island party, says person impersonator. But it's good to have you now. I'm sorry that the sound, that's the rain. That's the rain that you can hear. I'm sorry about that. I think there's a boat coming around the corner as well. Is it coming to me? Is it coming to me? Is it coming to me? No, it's not. There's a boat there. Oh, you can definitely see. I think you can see the water, or the rain on the water there. Big fat droplets of rain there. It's kind of cool. Kind of cool. Kind of cool. Where are we? Personally, Corbyn should stand aside as an MP. Yes, he gets things done for his constituents, but what's he done for the rest of the UK? Well, I mean, it's fine. He's a backbench MP. He's, I don't think he should be a party leader, and if he looks after his constituents and he wants to remain an MP, but I do think this should be his last term. Like, I just think, just let him retire, just let him chill out in his old age, go and attend to his allotments. There's a couple of good River Monsters episodes about bull sharks. Ooh. Love all the info on your island. Thank you for sharing with us, Stars. Oh, thank you for joining me for that then. Frank Dibner, Fred Dibner, who used to cut down all the he was a steeplejack. Used to knock down towers with a hammer. I'm Ace, I think, getting documented going inland to Australia too. Steam rallies, God, I hated them being dragged around them by my dad as a kid. Ukraine are absolutely hammering Russian oil refineries, which is good, but it does mean that the price of oil goes up, doesn't it? My son's birthday, but he is missing, probably locked up for begging. He was last month, so sent pennies to his prisoner account instead of a card. I'm sorry to hear that, person impersonator. That can't be much fun. I'm so sorry. Noisy rain. Yeah, sorry, person impersonator. It is noisy. I'm jealous. I would love to be there than this hellhole. I mean, Sarah, I'm sorry that the UK is not a very pleasant place at the moment for a lot of people. But this isn't. I mean, like, life here isn't easy. It's fun, I will say that, but just thinking like anything that you just do not naturally in a day, making a cup of tea, brushing your teeth, having a shower, using the toilet, there's an added layer of complexity here because we are in the jungle, we're off grid, we're reliant on the weather. I was going to mention about the rain, why we needed rain, because we've been mixing cement and we need a lot of water to mix with the cement, and so our water supply was right down, so hopefully this rain is going to get it back up again, so that'll be good. But it's really warm, and also what happens when it's actually raining like this is the insects tend to piss off. Like we're not getting too many chitras. The little no-see-ums are not really attacking me at the moment. It's probably also because I've got my little mosquito coil here, which scares them away. They don't like the smoke. Here's a top tip, right? If you find an abandoned termite nest, right, you find like attached to a tree or something like that, you can pull it off the tree. It comes off in one clump, and don't worry about getting termites on you, they don't bite. And if you burn that, it creates loads of smoke, and that is a really good way of getting rid of any insects. The insects don't like the smoke, so mosquitoes, chitras, no-see-ums, wasps, any kind of insects, they do not like the smoke from a termite nest. So it's kind of like a cool little hack, island hack there. If you run out of chitra coils, burn a termite nest. Probably not great for the environment. Well, I can really hear the thunder now. I'm sorry if that is really loud on the roof. I'm sorry if you're not hearing me very well, but yeah. But yeah, I mean, this living here was described to me by a good friend of mine who stayed here for 6 weeks. She called it, she said it's heaven and hell and nothing in between. And she was absolutely right. So for instance, now, because it's raining, I can't go to town. This is my plan after this, so that plan has been derailed. So it's a case of a lot of plan Bs. Maybe just wait for the rain to go off and go later, I think. One Angry Pagan says, great white won't go upriver. That's absolutely true, Graham, but bull sharks have a salt gland and the other sharks don't. Oh, well, that'll be it then. Well, I didn't mention the bull sharks. I did say great whites wouldn't be able to go there. On the Christians and climate, the book says our purpose is to be the guardians of creation, as to look after it, not neglect it. Yep, that's very true. All MPs should retire at 75, give new blood a chance. I agree. And it should be easier to become an MP for younger people who aren't necessarily posh. It should be easier to get a job in the civil service if you didn't go to private school, something that Labour are actually doing now. They're actually making it, so they're having quotas of state school kids in applications. Great whites in the English Channel now in summer. Jesus Christ, really? That's not good. The effects of global warming. The UK fishermen are now concentrating on catching massive tuna around Devon and Cornwall. Ooh, I love a bit of tuna fish. They're massive. Tuna fish are fucking huge. You don't think because you get it in a little can. They are actually massive fish. Not quite yet, Oliver, but don't think it'll be long. Definitely get Makos visiting and lots of bluefin tuna now. We get bluefin tuna around here. We caught one. And is that the yellowfin tuna? We get blue and yellow, I think, here. Well, bluefin is huge. It is. Fun fact, closest relation to termites are cockroaches. Well, there you go. Well, I've eaten both. So eaten cockroaches um, in Thailand, and I've tried termites here. They taste a little bit like minty parsley, for anyone who cares. Yes, I have a couple of trips planned next year on my mate's boat. He caught them. He caught them over 600 pounds, tagged and released. That is incredible. Yes, go on YouTube and put tuna fishing in UK waters. We can hear the rain, but you sound fine, nice and clear, says Mark Coughlin. Thank you very much. What's the Uber Eats service like there? It's all right. So if I wanted to order a pizza from town and have it delivered here, I could totally do that. I'd have to pay for the pizza, which will probably be about $10, and then just pay for the boat for the taxi driver to bring it over here. So probably about $30-40 it would cost me. But if I was having a party and I had loads of people here and I wanted to get like 10 pizzas, it would actually be worth it to get it delivered here, because it would still only be $25 for the delivery cost for them to bring it over. So there you go. Yeah, we can get Uber Eats. Well, the Boca's equivalent of Uber Eats. One of the things I really love about this town, Boca's town, is the fact that there are no big chains there. There's no McDonald's. There's no Popeyes, there's no KFC, there's no Starbucks, there's no Uber Eats, there's no, all of those companies that kind of smash up the local competition. We don't have any of them. There's no Costa Coffee in Costa Rica. I only found out the other day that Costa Coffee was actually named after Alberto Costa, or whatever his name was, who was an Italian immigrant to Britain who set it all, or his parents were immigrants, and his surname was Costa. Nothing to do with Costa Rica. Because you see Costa Coffee and you think, well, Costa Rica does make coffee, so maybe it's because it comes. So there you go. Oliver Brown says, wow, says Oliver. So what was the other thing? Someone remind me about the other thing that's happened in the news. We've got the recognition of Palestine, it's big news. We've got Tommy 10 names getting kicked out of Panama, which is hilarious. We've got the collapse of the Your Party in fighting, which seems to plague the left. I think it's one of the reasons why the Remain campaign failed, because all of the people, I don't know if you remember this, but there was a guy called Roland Rudd who ran the People's Vote campaign for a second referendum, which I always thought was a terrible name, because it was like, what, did people not vote in the first one? Is that like, I don't know, well, the pigeons voted in the first one and now the people are going to vote in the second one? Okay. It was run by Roland Rudd, the brother of Amber Rudd, who was a Conservative MP. So danger. They had this expensive office in like Millbank in London, which cost so much money, and they were running crowdfunders, but all that crowdfunding money was going on rent, because that's the way that these companies do things, I guess. These NGOs do things. It is maddening that these places are willing to waste all this money on having a fancy HQ. Like the Lib Dems, I went to the Lib Dem HQ years ago, and it was, they only had 12 MPs at the time, and it was just off Parliament Square, and I was just looking around going, oh my god, this must be cost them an absolute fortune. You're talking about thousands and thousands of pounds a week for this space, right? And I go in and we're talking about their comms. This is before it was going on about Labour about the comms. And I said, we need to do this campaign that does X, Y, Z. We go around the country, and we talk about, we go to these places, these working class areas, and me, not as a working class northerner, but as an accented northerner, talk to people about the actual real implications of us leaving the EU. And they were like, that's a great idea, you can go and do it. And I'm like, no, I need to be paid. You need to pay me to do it. I can't live off air. I need food to eat. I need to hire a car at the very least and pay for the petrol. And I'm not a nepo baby. I don't have my own money to do that. And they were like, sorry, we don't have the budget for that. And I'm looking around this fucking office, and I'm like, okay, cool. Don't have the budget for it. Okay. And we were talking like maybe 10 grand. And I wasn't even asking to be paid like, a salary for doing it. Just cover me costs, at the very least. And they're like, no, don't have the money for it. Yeah. Yeah, that's always wound me up. But yeah, so Roland Rudd sounds too much like Roland Rat, says Paula. Yeah, so Roland Rudd, he quite famously fell out with everyone in the everyone else in the People's Vote campaign, and the campaign fell apart in November 2019. And you might recognise that date as being the month that the election of the disastrous Brexit election of 2019 took place, in which the Tories were given a massive mandate to deliver Brexit. Deliver! Yay! I hate that word. Oh, Polanski's Greens was way better. Yeah. Yeah, but Trump has said he will not recognise Palestine as a state, and I fear UK is about to be punished for our stance. Yeah, but it's not just the UK, it's Canada and Australia and France and stuff, and you can only do so much, you know. These fucking tariffs. It damages America more than it damages anywhere else. So I'm just adjusting myself in the hammock here. Latest mad campaign of Trump by banning comedians on American TV channels who take the piss out of his administration but can't touch South Park technicality, which is good. I hope they absolutely go to town on him in the next episode. Can Trump afford to alienate any more nations? He's the greatest at making enemies. He's the best the world has ever seen, etc. Says person impersonator. So, I'm just going to lean back in my hammock. Enjoy the rain. Enjoy the rain, my friends. Enjoy the rain. Like, someone tell me things. I need to get my... One thing that I might do today. Since it's raining, what I might do today is work under the house and get the router out, and not the router you're thinking of, and cut some names into the wood, into the driftwood I've got stacked up. Found an amazing piece of driftwood yesterday. So chuffed with it. It was in the mangrove roots. Pulled it out really long. It just looked beautiful. And I need to make a super chat sign that is written backwards because you'll see me backwards. So I need to write super chat backwards and hold it up when someone drops a super chat. Harushi says abolish the FCC. Yes, it's relaxing in the rain. It is. I like hearing the noise of the rain on the roof. Talking about how different things would have been if Gordon Brown had won the 2010 election. I don't think he should have been PM. And that was a bad move of Labour. I think it was a bad move of his. I think he made a much better Chancellor. But as a figurehead for the country, he just, I think he was great, but he just looked so miserable. He just looked so miserable all the time. Cheer up, Gordon. Cheer up, Gordo. Gordon Brown was much maligned, like so many leaders before and after. But yes, he seemed a decent man. Yeah. Well, I think Starmer. Before we slag him off, I think he's got a level of decency to him. He was a human rights lawyer, but just some of the choices Labour have made in the last year are just bonkers. I mean, to go after trans people, like Phil never gets tired of saying, it's just not a vote winner. It's just a vote loser. That's all it is. Going after trans people, even if you're just going to be hard nosed about it and go, I don't care about the rights of trans people because I don't like the fact they exist or whatever. Going after them is not a vote winner. It is just a vote loser. No one's going to vote for Labour because they're transphobic. People won't vote for Labour because they're transphobic, though. It's fucking absurd. Absolutely absurd. But yeah, he did seem like a decent man. De Gaulle's policy of pointing nukes both ways is looking more and more sensible, says Paula about Charles de Gaulle of France. That's relaxing. Elbows up, South Park, says Diz. tariffs and also pulling out of the $150 billion technology pledge. Has he actually announced that? Has he said that that's what he's going to do? Twat. After we fucking fed him and everything. Gobshite. Let me know in the chat if that's actually happened, because I can't check. It's usually when I'm talking to you normally at home. It's great. I can just I've got two screens and I can see the repeats of me, so I can make sure that I'm in the middle of the screen and stuff on one screen, and then the other screen I can have the news and stuff, and I can be scrolling through the news headlines and things. I can't do that here. If I could make a hotspot on my phone, I'd have my laptop on my knee and I'll be looking things up as I'm talking to you. But they throttle your ability to hotspot in this country. There you go. I've got no more chats. Has no one written since person impersonator, or has my bandwidth dropped off? Because I'm gonna have to go soon. I'm afraid. I might fall back asleep. I've got so much work to do. I'm only here for a few more days, and tomorrow I'm going down to I'm getting the overnight bus to Panama City, which will be fun. By fun I mean not fun. Do you like sleeping on coaches? No one likes sleeping on coaches. Got here drama. Hi El. Hello. Lots. Hey, buffering. Sorry, I'm back. I realised I was buffering there for ages, and the fact that I've got no new messages come in, everyone's gone very quiet all of a sudden, or I'm going to get a flood of them all at once. Anything can happen in the magic money round. Yeah, I'm kind of stuck now because I don't know if this is even going out. I don't know if anyone's seeing it, and people are probably writing furiously, yes Graham, this is going out, or they're writing buffering. One of the two. This sort of happens when there's a thunderstorm. It's kind of weird. Right, I'm going to just point this at the water for a little bit so we can just relax and watch the raindrops on the water. Oh well, I'm not getting new messages, so I assume that I don't know, the bandwidth has gone or something. Maybe I'm looking really like I'm made of Lego at the moment because it's such bad definition. And I realise I need to have a shave. I'm getting a bit too whiskery. Look at myself here. Come on, let's have some new messages. Come on, I can't see your messages. I've had no new messages since what will be for you 3 o'clock. So I got the last message off you at 3 o'clock. And after that, nothing. A big pile of nothing. A big nothing burger. There's 60 people watching, which is good. But no new messages. What the Fouquet? Got 59 people watching now. One person's gone, sod this. Can't see what's happening. Oh, come on. I'll give it a few seconds more. But then I might have to abandon the stream because there's no knowing if this is actually getting out to anybody. Is anybody there? Maybe just everyone just decided to stop posting new messages, which is, something that you can do, I guess. I'm kind of doubtful that anyone that you'd all stop writing stuff all at once. This is a shame because this has got to be a two-way conversation, really. It doesn't really work if I've got none of your messages coming up. But yeah, no new messages for 4 minutes now. Oh. Oh well, that's not fun. Okay, well, I might have to wrap it up. If you can see me, right? If you can hear, whoever's out there who can spare a quid, right? Just gives a little super chat, and I'll see the money meter, which is here on my screen. If that goes up, so at least I know there's someone watching it. So if you see that go up to like £1, £5. Oh my God, people are watching. Okay, thank you. Thank you, whoever that was who gave the £5 super chat. You are amazing. Thank you so much. But I can't see, I'm not getting any new messages. So a super chat's turned up, no new messages. Oh, I'll tell you what I can do. Go to live chat. Oh, yes. Darren Christian. Oh, do you know what I need to do? I need to change the thing to go to live chat. I can see messages updating. I'm still hearing Graham. Yes, we can hear you. Can you see me? Can you see me? Can you see me? Thanks so much for the super chat, Darren. Totally got that. Don't forget to like. We are here. I noticed a mega lack of beer cans in this visit to Jinja compared to you and Marcus last time. Was he the bad influence, or that you work so much it prevented dehydration? We did drink a fuckload when we were here, and I'm drinking a fuckload, to be honest with you. I'm just a bit more tidy, because the problem is, if you leave an empty beer can on here and you get like the slightest gust of wind, it goes in the water, and I can see some beer cans. I didn't put them there in the water, so I'm gonna have to fish them out, because they're not good to have in the water. Well, thanks very much to Darren Christian there for the super chat. The first super chat of the afternoon. See buzzards every day at the back of mine, kites sometimes too. Well, that's cool. People posting about the fact that trans existed on the off chance the Trump regime lobotomizes the US trans population. Well, Trump is threatening to say that all trans people are terrorists, to declare trans people terrorists. Almost like trying to, declare Antifa terrorists. Like, how? There's no central structure, there's no leader, there's no... I can hear you in a supermarket. The news is mumbling about Fergie, the one, and her friendship with Epstein, and just so the family get into the papers again. The family from up the road. But yeah, she regarded Epstein as a friend. A bunch of fucking weirdos, that lot. Hate them all. More than Buffer. Funny thing, Kirk's manager came out and said Kirk would want his South Park episode left up as a testament to his dedication to free speech, or some version of that. Apparently he loved being O.S. Spark on South Park. Not of yet, Graham, but I wouldn't put it past the Orange Man toddler, so that must be, the sanctions that we were thinking of doing. Here, Disney are losing billions because of that, says Oliver Barone. I cancelled Disney Plus because they own ABC. I don't think Corbyn was PM material either. No. Or two Jags Prescott. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I was gonna say we're all terrorists now. Yeah, we are. Once you start declaring everyone a terrorist, like, then what do you do about the real terrorists? Because you've got law enforcement, right? Got MI5, the FBI, CIA, or whatever, looking out for terrorism. But you declare everyone a terrorist. They don't have the resources. They don't have the real resources to follow everyone home. They just don't. It is kind of crazy. It's a crazy time to be alive. Welcome back, says Mark Coughlin. Hello, Mark. How you doing? Yeah, am I drinking less? No, I'm not. I here there's an old joke about the beer. It's very light. It's very light beer that you get here. You can get Panama, which I like, Atlas, which I like less, and then Balboa, which I really don't like. Yeah, they don't really get you drunk. You gotta drink a lot of them to get drunk. We make a joke, which is the beer around here is like having sex in a boat. Fucking close to water. But yeah, when you're working on a hot day, what you do is you put the beers in the freezer. So before you drink the beer, you take it out and you put it on your forehead, or you put it on the back of your neck, or down your pants, or wherever you need it to go to cool you the fuck down. And then you can crack it open and drink it. It's all good. Day beer, says One Angry Pagan. Yeah. Well, the thing is, I mean, also, this isn't a real place for late nights. Like last night, I think I went to bed at like 9 o'clock. You tend to get up dead early in the morning. I was awake at 5:30 this morning, so I was awake. Been awake now for a few hours before I even started doing the show. Hate having arthritis in agony and struggling with my mobility, but afraid to report it to the DUP, even though my health is getting worse. Oh, please report it, Sarah. If you can get more help, you deserve more help. Maybe talk to the citizens' advice in your area and find out what they can get sorted for you. So it's not a case of you talking to the DWP; they'll do that on your behalf. But please, look after yourself and make sure that you are getting the support that you deserve, just by dint of being a person in the UK. Yeah. Dana Shed says guilty slipping on a red stripe. Yeah. Look, I'm really sorry to hear that, Sarah. That's awful. I'm sorry. Yeah, and impersonator, when you call so many folk terrorists, the word loses all meaning. Yeah. You're a terrorist. You're a terrorist. You're a terrorist. Also to your council. Yeah, Sarah. Also speak to someone at your council to find out what services are available for you. And I'm sorry, arthritis is not. It's not fun, is it? Jesus. Yeah. I hope you get treatment that alleviates it. So yeah, I'm gonna bugger off. I think. I forgot to bring a bottle of water with me from the house, and I drank my coffee really quick. Nationalists' encroachment on the left and right only worsen social conditions and possibly lead to internal clashes. There's no escaping it, unfortunately. How many hours are you behind us? 6 hours. 6 hours, so it's just 9 o'clock for me, and it's 3 o'clock for you. If I remember right, did Fergie take a loan from Epstein, or is that another affluent individual? Possibly. I don't know. Dana Shed says, mead. I feel the need for mead. Start Morris dancing. Anyway, no, what I was going to say, yeah, I was talking a little bit before I go about the people's vote. It all fell apart like the month before the election in 2019, and loads of people gave money to it. Like, it raised millions, and where that money went, nobody fucking knows. At least when I try to raise money for stuff, like if I go to Ukraine or build a wall on my island, at least you can see what I've done. At least I'm like, look, I'm in Ukraine. Look, here's a small child with a present. But yeah, Paul Ewan says, to celebrate UK, Canada, and Australia's recognition of the State of Palestine, Portugal, France, and Belgium are expected to follow soon. So thank you very much for the £5 super chat there, Paul. And yeah, that's to celebrate that. So that's cool. Al is saying, stress, phone battery warped, £80 to supply and fit next day, Wednesday. Alt, I pay £11 and do it myself. 1 to 3 day delivery. States delivered, not received. Chasing it, £35 supply and fit. Got it done. Good. I'm glad you got that done. I'm thinking that you got it done, but yeah, it can be a lot of stress. The right to repair. We should all have the right to repair. Does Marcus and Tansky come on Politics Social often? Tan does. Marcus has been on it a couple of times, but he's in France. Same with Maximilian. He's been on it, but they're an hour ahead. So when we start at 9:30, it's actually 10:30 for them, and it's usually Friday night, and it's late, and they want to see their family and stuff. Max does a stream before, so he does one from 8:30 till 9:30, and then he generally shunts the people who are watching his show over to ours, which is what we do on a Tuesday with Geoscope. Me and Ollie wrap up, and we send all of our viewers over to Max's channel. But yeah, it would be good. It would be good to see Marcus again, actually. So I'll see if I can get in touch with him and say if Mike is up for doing, I don't know, a Thursday night social or something, we'll try and get Marcus on to see what the damage I've done to all of his fine creations on this island. Like, he is a master carpenter. Like, the stuff he can do is just bewildering to me. He built a workbench out of a mangrove that was dead. Recently. Oh, I just saw a dolphin fin. Out of mangrove branches, right? And the way he did it, he threw the mangrove into the water for like a week, and that makes it fill with salt, and it keeps the termites away because they don't like the salt. And then he took it out and he built this workbench, and we're still using it to this day, like 4 years later. And it just looked like he just knocked it together, but it's fucking brilliant. But yeah, he also built this amazing ladder to go to the spare room, and like it made me really, really appreciate carpentry, just the way he built a jig. I think it's called a jig, which was like so that the angles that he cut, the top and the bottom of the ladder, and then the grooves that he put in for the rungs, that they were all the same angle, exactly the same angle, and that was just watching him do his stuff. It's just fascinating. I love his he's got a woodwork channel, so he does his politics stuff. We're talking about Marcus Allshorts, by the way, if you don't know who I'm talking about. Marcus Kett. He's got his own. He's got another channel which is doing his joinery, his carpentry, and it's just fascinating. It's just absolutely fascinating. Jello Biafra did a great podcast thing yesterday. Charlie Kirk and the Damage Done. Might have to watch that out. Coughing a lot and itchy eyes. If it was actually delivered, I would have done it in time, health-wise. Oh, bloody hell, that's no good. Is that from the new battery? Shit. When they said it was at dangerous level, I know. Chase battery, shopping around. When I did, they said it was at dangerous level. I know. I was breathing it in. Oh, God. So the battery in your phone was like, what, leaking toxic gas? What? Shit, that's not good. That's not good, El. Prince Andrew tried to organise Epstein to pay off his ex-wife's debt. At the same time, I feel he offered his daughter up as, oh my God, MHK, that's horrific. That just doesn't bear thinking about. Ugh. Can someone say something nice in the chat so we can finish on a more positive note? Than toxic exposure and the royals just being really fucked up weirdos. Let's have a look. I'll just turn that to dot chat. Nice, says MHK. Thank you, MHK. Oh, look at that. There you go. We're going to look out to sea for a moment. Okay, nicer. Okay, well, I'm going to leave it at that. I'll say, let's all 56 people here migrate to Jinja Island, start a cult. Graham, Baba Guru seems to be our only ticket at this point. Says Jam Iron. Yes, you're all welcome. Everyone's welcome. No, seriously, if you've given to this channel, if you've given super chats in the past, if you've given money towards the island restoration in the past, you are very welcome to come stay here for free. You'd have to bring your own food and shit, but just give me a shout. Just give me a shout when you're in Panama. You can't stay forever, obviously. Other people need to be able to stay here at some point. But if you want to, you're very welcome to spend a week or two on Jinja Island, getting back to nature, digital detox, and don't know, maybe you could help build a wall. My car's fixed after months of being skint and off the road, so I'll be back to a lovely fit place fishing at Clumber Park, says Dana Shed. Ah, awesome. I'll leave you now. I will be back on just live from the boat dock, just talking shit. Otherwise, tomorrow morning for me, tomorrow afternoon for you, 2 o'clock for Island Brew, and we're just talking about what's in the headlines and just what everyone's up to and what I've been doing on the island. Working hard, getting very sweaty. So in the meantime, I'll say thank you very much for watching. I'll leave you with this wonderful shot of the bay here in the rain, and might have a few moments before I go of just listening to the rain.